from Southern California, and today I'm going to plant my ginger, and I'm going to have you with me while we do it. So let's get started. So today I'm going to get my ginger planted because the weather's starting to warm up a little bit. We're not freezing anymore and we're not that cold. And in the meantime, during the year, because I had taken my ginger in, and I believe I did a video on harvesting my ginger, now I want to replant it. And while winter was going on, I used these pots just as, you know, putting plants on top to keep the soil nice and stable and still alive. I always keep my soil watered even if there's nothing in there. So I'm going to get some of this moved off. Let me move this over. Excuse my back. And I'm going to remove my blueberries. I bought a bunch of blueberries, which I have to get planted, but in the meantime, I had them sitting there, and I'm going to sit them off to the side right now. Okay, so the blueberries are moved, and now I also have to move my one tomato plant that's still hanging in there. I think I'll just move them off to the side here right now. And then I've got to find another place temporarily. I might just still sit it on the table somewhere, but this is the purple tree color. But I'm going to move it out of the way. Okay, now, let me explain what I did all winter. We use the ginger, and we use it in our green drinks. Gary just grades it and puts it in different drinks he's drinking. He eats it. We put it in our food. Let me move this little guy out of the way. And in the winter, we store it in paper. And by storing it in paper, it just keeps it from completely drying out. Otherwise, it could dry out. So what I'm going to do is go through them, pick out the best of the best, and show you how I'm going to plant it. So that looks good. And I don't really have to label it because once it comes up, I'll know. Ginger grows kind of long and thin leaves, and then the turmeric has the big heavy leaves. So see, it's already trying to grow. I've got growth coming in on the ginger. I'm going to try to get all the paper out of the way. So now I think I'll just put it in. I've got these pots set up ready to go, and I'll put it in there. This is turmeric, easy to tell. Turmeric and ginger. See, turmeric ours is the orange, and then the ginger is the regular ginger. And see the growth already on it? See if you can see that. As you can see, while it was in the house, it wanted to grow. So let's get a few planted so you can see exactly what I'm doing. But this is a good way of storing it. And then the paper, I can compost this paper or throw it away. See what else is in here. I've got a whole bunch. We've been using it and we had so much. See, they look beautiful, all of them. They store so well that way. Let me explain a little bit on my table here what I do. I have a big square container. I don't even know what they are. They're square, and what I do is I put my pots on top of this container, which catches the water a little bit, and I cover it in wood chips, very similar to this. So I use the floral pots, and what I did was I cut them so they would fit kind of like a puzzle, so they'll fit better on the table, and you'll see how I set them up there. And then what I did was I put them on that tray where I keep the wood chips. But see how they fit like a puzzle? And they sit on the tray with the wood chips, and everything fits together. So I have this way, I'm using the entire space on the table. And it fits really good. So what I do is I have a container with wood chips. You could use leaves, anything from your garden, and then I sit it on top. So while it's watering this, and this does have holes, so this will drain. This does not fill with water. But while I'm watering my ginger, I've got all this beautiful wood chips and leaves and tree bark and stuff. This breaks down. So later on, when I move the pots, I have this great, rich soil. It's turned into soil, and it's full of earthworms and everything. It's ready to use for planting. So it works out really good. So that's what I have on my table underneath. So now what we're going to do is let's start with this one. This one's got nothing in it. And I'm going to just loosen the soil a little bit, just on the top. Just gently loosen the soil. And then I'm going to start placing ginger. Now, maybe with this one, turmeric gets so big. I'll put the turmeric in the back. I'm going to take some ginger, and it doesn't really matter how you plant it. I could cut this, I could break it, but I think I'm going to leave it the way it is and just set them in. So I'm just going to pick some pieces and just kind of set them in there. I don't have to do a whole bunch. I could break some off if I want to eat now, but since I'm not eating any right now, I'm just going to set them in. You know what? This one's so big, I might break a piece off. See, this one's trying to grow here too. And that's it. Now I could either dig it in or I just top it. And it's really easy. It's very, very forgiving. Now here I'm using a mix of potting soil and a little bit of broken down wood chips from around the yard. But that's it. You're literally only putting about an inch of soil, if that. It's that easy. So that's my ginger. That one's planted. Now I won't be able to layer this or put pots on the top. I could put some wood chips on top if I want, but you don't want to put anything on top because it's going to start growing. So now I cannot layer. This one, I'm going to do the same thing. And let's see, I think I'll put the turmeric in the back. So I'll put some more ginger in here. Same thing in here. I can pick out some of the nicest ginger. See, it's got growth on it. And just set it in there. I loosened up the soil a little bit so we can set its roots out. These roots are pretty much toast. Don't really need the roots on here anymore. It's going to set out all new roots. We'll have all new roots that will send out. Since this pot is small, I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 pieces in there. Ginger actually likes to be overcrowded. It's interesting. It seems to grow better that way. And ginger grows really good in pots. And that's all, and then you do the same thing. I think back here, I didn't leave it. Sometimes I have to look to make sure I didn't leave anything in here. Nope, just leaves. I'm going to get some turmeric in that one. So turmeric will go in this one. I'll pick out some of the nicer. Again, the roots are kind of, whoops. It's not going to do anything with the roots. Those roots are gone. They can be composted. Just set in some turmeric. See if I've got, this one's already starting to grow. I'll set that in there. And I could put 2 or 3 pieces. And I think I'll go with these 3 pieces. And now if I wanted to, I could just bury it in the soil that's already there. But since I've got this mixed up, I'm just going to put this on top. And I will be doing this to all the pots the same way. Just slightly burying it. It doesn't have to be buried deep. You don't want to bury it too deep. It's very close to the surface. Now I'm going to do something different with the front pot. Okay, with the front pot, this one, I'm going to mark it too. Let me see if I've got something. I think I've got something in my pocket. Yes. I'm going to write on here on a spoon. I'm not crazy about spoons, but that's what I had right now, ginger. And I'm going to put store. Now what I'm going, you know what? Yeah, that's good. I can put May. So I'll remember I put it in May, because it may not come up right away. What I'm going to do here is we bought a few from the store. I don't know if they're any good. Most of them now are being irradiated and they're dead. They look to be alive, but they're dead. I'm going to loosen this up, the soil a little bit. And I'm going to take this ginger. It looks like it's alive. The problem is some of them have actually died. You plant them and they don't grow. But I'm marking this one, and I'm going to only put 2 pieces. I think Gary's going to put some pieces. And right now I'm just going to use 2 pieces from the store. Let me top it. And we'll see if this year, the store that we bought it from a little market, not a regular grocery store. And it was supposed to be organic, so we'll see. And that's it. So now I've got my first 3 pots already planted. I'm going to do the rest of them. And as the year goes on, we're going to see, hopefully soon, all the ginger growing and everything. And any parts that are no good, they can be composted. I can compost the newspaper if I want. I can throw it in the trash, whatever you want. But that's all there is to it. It's that easy. Again, I'm not going to layer it. Now, I do want to show you this one. This one is already growing. The reason it's growing is Gary put this in his back room. And I did not pick this one. I left it. So see, there's the ginger. Let me see if I can show you this really good. Let me move this for a minute. There's the ginger right on the top. See how you can see the ginger? That's how close to the surface it is. And I actually had a stick in there that said ginger, and it's still there. Usually they disappear. But it's really close to the surface. I had left one in there, and there it is. It's growing. So I'm going to leave this one, and the reason it probably grew, and this one died back. This one looks like, oh, this one's turmeric in here. By keeping it layered, and this one was layered. I had left one piece of ginger in here, and I had another pot on top, and I had Gary put it in his greenhouse bedroom. This pot must have kept it just a little bit warmer to the point where it thought the surface was warm and ready to grow. So it started to grow. So I've got some ginger already growing now. I'm going to set it out on my table. And I could either plant more ginger in here and take the turmeric out, or whatever I want to do. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, but I've got ginger now already starting because I started it in the house. I left it in the house. And that is another way you can grow ginger all year. So, we left some in the house, I think 2 years ago, and it just grew all year. It never browned. So it just depends on where you keep it. Ginger doesn't like the cold weather. So as soon as it gets cold, it dies back, and that's when you want to harvest it and use it. But you can harvest ginger all year. You can eat it at any state. It is ready to eat. So you can eat it when it's green, which is wonderful, or you can wait and harvest it later, or harvest it as the year goes on. You feel like fresh ginger, go out to your pots, pull it up, doesn't matter if there's leaves, break off what you want, and put it back. Ginger is really, really forgiving. Well, I'm going to get the rest of this all planted up, and you'll see it on my next garden tour, and we'll watch and see it grow, just like my stevia took off. And this I'll leave stevia, and I'm going to have all this ginger and turmeric, and we'll see. You know what? I'll stick my little gnome in here. So we'll remember the one with the gnome is store-bought. The rest of it will all be grown here in my garden, on my ginger table and turmeric table. So I hope I've showed you how to get that planted. It's really easy, and storing it, it's really good to wrap it in something, and you don't want to wrap it in plastic, because if you wrap it in plastic, it could get moldy and it will break down, and you could end up losing your ginger. But newspaper works really, really good. You just wrap it up and take it out and use it as you need it. And now I'm ready to plant, and I'll go through and plant a bunch, and whatever's left, I can wash it, dry it, and freeze it, or I can find someplace else to plant it or eat it right away. So with that, have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. And I'm going to finish up the table. Bye-bye! Well, I have now finished my ginger and turmeric table, and stevia, of course. Everything's set up. I've got ginger and turmeric all through it. I did not label it because as soon as it starts to grow, I will know exactly what is what, because they do grow differently. Remember, the ginger grows very slinky and the turmeric grows really big and full, the leaves. And also, if you're in an area that's kind of dry, you can also put some wet newspaper on top in the meantime to keep it damp. And as soon as you see them popping through, you can remove it at that point. That's up to you. You may want to weigh it down with something. That's one thing. And the other thing I have found for me, everybody's different, is my ginger and turmeric here in Southern California grows really good with part shade and part sun. This area gets morning sun and no afternoon sun. So when it's really hot, it's not in the sun in the summer. And it works beautiful. So I'm going to grow it that way here. You have to try what works for you, but I go with morning sun for my ginger and turmeric. And as well as my stevia. I had stevia growing in full sun and it didn't do that well. And once I moved it here, it did beautiful. And that's a tea plant. We'll see what happens with that. My friend had 3 of them. 2 of them died. He gave me his last one that was almost dead, and it is making a comeback just by sitting in a pot. So that's it. It's all planted, and now we'll watch it grow all spring and summer and into the fall until winter when it dies back, and then I'll decide if I'm going to dig it all up, move it, or bring it in the pot. So with that, have a great day again, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody.